UFC Fight Night Adesanya versus Imavov finished up a few days ago, and to maintain the tradition of matching up everyone after a big event or card, we're going to be matching up these six gentlemen. Now, these are the main fighters that were on the card. Obviously, there are more than just these guys who probably do deserve ranked matchups, if we're being real. But I'm not matching up Zion. You know what I mean? So these are the six people we're going to be matching up. We're going to start off with the heavyweights first. We're going to start off with Biggie Boy, right? Rosenstreich. Now, the person I've picked to fight Rosenstreich is pretty. My chair is so squeaky, right? You don't even understand. I don't know if my microphone can pick that up, but it's annoying me personally. Anyway, back to Biggie Boy. Rosenstreich, the reason why I've picked his opponent is basically because the memes going into this fight will be incredible. Derek Lewis. Now, I have not just taken, Rosenstreich and copied and pasted him and put him across from him. These are actually two different people, believe it or not. I know they have the exact same, facial structure. They're both bald, they both have beards, they're both the same color eyes, they both have tattoos, and they're both black. And 6'4" and fat and overweight. But they're very similar in looks, and I feel like the memes going into this fight are good enough to make the UFC, to make it kind of hyped for the UFC to go, let's put this one on a pay-per-view. You know what I mean? They'll probably put it as the fourth slot down on a main event. I'm down for this. I want to see this happen just because the memes in the build-up would be great. Now, next up is, sticking with the theme of heavyweights, Sergey Pavlovich. Now, I was going to toss up here between two different people to give him, Almeida or Garn. I'm not going to say I don't think he deserves Garn, because Garn's not necessarily it's not like Garn is he's this big bag fight. I think the difference is I think Garn's on a 2-fight winning streak, and he's not going to fight for the title next, but I feel like he will fight the winner of Pavlovich Almeida. Almeida fought 2.5 weeks ago, and won. Pavlovich fought 3 days ago and won. I feel like this makes sense to do. They'll probably do it in a few months' time. And it also gives the heavyweight division some time to just sort out whatever the fuck is going on, because no one seems to know what's going on in that division currently. So it does give the division some time to, I don't know, develop, maybe get Shamil Gaziev up in the rankings. I should probably put him on here as well. But that makes sense, in my opinion, anyway. So it helps the division get, somewhere within the next year to the point where it's a somewhat healthy division and can run itself sustainably. Anyway, moving on. The fraud-checked undefeated fighter, well, so-called undefeated fighter, he's now no longer undefeated, guys. I don't even know what I've just said, but Sharon Magomedov. Who do we give him? Well, he's probably going to be either fighting for his life at the bottom of the rankings, or he's going to be unranked after this. Now, so I've decided to give him someone who is also a striker. Bit of a weird, funky style, bit almost like MVP, just slightly shitter. Michael Pereira. Now, the issue is with this, from a technical standpoint, is I'm probably moving away too far from the microphone, so it's going to sound shit, whatever I just said. The issue with this fight, technically anyway, is Pereira has a massive reach advantage. I believe Pereira's got a 78-inch reach. If I'll look this up right now, hang on, let's see. Never mind, I've just dropped it because I'm a moron. 6'1", 73-inch reach. That is the exact same as Sharon Magomedov. So he's probably not going to have the same problem he is with MVP, or that he had with MVP. Because the problem is when he fought Michael Venom Page, is he couldn't get past the jab or his long, lengthy reach. Where against Pereira, it's more of an even fight, and they're both entertaining enough fighters to justify putting it on a main card. So also, it's like a bottom of the rankings matchup. It makes sense in terms of rankings and in terms of where they're both currently at, and they are also both fighting for their life at the bottom of the rankings in the middleweight division. And realistically, you can't justify a jump up after you just got 3-0'd by a guy moving up from welterweight. So I feel like this 14th versus 15th probably going to be the other way round at some after the rankings change. But wouldn't be surprised if Sharon Magomedov gets unranked after this one, and we see him get some random unranked fighter just to because the problem is the UFC do not want him to get, well, not fraud check necessarily, but they don't want him to get the shit kicked out of him by a grappler or by a good striker, or just beaten up by a grappler on the floor. They want him to, because he's a big name around the Saudi Arabia area. They're not going to want him people to beat the shit out of him. So they're probably going to put him against someone who he can reasonably win against, and is somewhat ranked. And the only person I can see currently that makes sense is Pereira. Hopefully that makes sense. That was like a 3-minute yap session. Moving on to the guy that beat him, Michael Venom Page. MVP said he's moving back down to welterweight, so they pretty much just ruined a middleweight prospect for no reason at all. So in terms of where like the welterweight division currently is, he's ranked 15th. They'll probably give him Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Can I change my slide? There we go. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. This is who they're probably going to give him. I mean, realistically, it's 15th versus 11th, coming off of a good win against a prospect in Sharon Magomedov. Makes sense to do this. They're both old fighters. Obviously, we didn't see MVP in the fucking UFC any earlier. He spent his entire career in Bellator. Kind of annoying that that's happened, but this is a fight that I want to see it. I don't know. It's kind of like one of the mid fights. It's kind of like, I don't really care, but I do kind of want to see it. It does need to happen. You did like I wouldn't be pissed if this was an addition to 312. You get what I mean? I know 312 is like next weakness, but I mean that card is absolute dog shit. So I wouldn't be surprised, or like I wouldn't be upset if this was an addition to a pay per view on a, I don't know, like a 315 card. You get what I mean? Anyway, moving on to the main event, the loser, Israel Adesanya. Now, I don't have much to say for him. I'm not gonna lie. I put Marvin Vettori on here because he's fighting in March. He's fighting the 15th of March. But like, if he beats Delizzi, which he probably will do, you can give him Adesanya. Maybe run a trilogy fight. I know Adesanya's technically choked like 2-0 up, but I mean, you know, it's technically 1-1. I guess I don't fucking know. Anyway, I feel like Vettori said himself he's the best chance for Adesanya to get a win at the moment. And Adesanya, realistically, he's 36 years old pretty much. He's pushing 36. He needs to either, in this situation, you either move weight division, but he's not big enough to move up to light heavyweight, and he's far too big to move down to welterweight. So, you know. And then, so what do? You have to rebuild yourself at middleweight, but you've already lost. You've already either beaten everyone in the bottom half of the division, or you've lost to everyone in the top half of the division. What do? He's in a very tricky situation. I think running a Vettori fight, I don't think people are going to be that interested in it, strictly because no one really gives a shit about Adesanya unless he's in a title fight, which is quite unfortunate, but it's what happens. He's not necessarily the biggest, like, he's got like the diehard fans, right? Like Kenny Okoke or whatever, or the Nigerian guy. And then he's got like other fans who just, they like him because he's a big name. And the problem is, if he isn't a big name, you just look at him for the character that he is. And a lot of people don't like his character because he does say a lot of weird things and do a lot of weird things. So that's a problem. And I don't think he's going to be, they'll probably put him Fight Night main event, honestly. Against Marvin Vettori makes sense. Yeah, I don't. Then he can probably just retire after that. I'm not even gonna lie, but I wouldn't be surprised if he retires. I'm not gonna lie. There's not really much else for him if we're being honest here. Moving on to the guy that beat him though, Imavov. Lots for this guy. I'm saying it right now, Chimaev. I want to see the Chimaev fight. I want him to run the Chimaev fight. Now the reason why I want him to run the Chimaev fight is because Chimaev. He said he was undisputable for the title. Imavov has done more at middleweight than Chimaev has. Okay, Chimaev is beaten at middleweight. He's beaten 4 guys. He's beaten Robert Whittaker, very good win, former champ. He's beaten Kamaru Usman, very good win, former champ though, coming on short notice. He's a former champ at welterweight though, short notice moving up a weight division. It's good win. Don't get me wrong, very good wrestling from Usman has very good wrestling. Short notice moving up from welterweight. You know, he's beat Meerschaert, which was his first win at middleweight. I mean, it's all right, I guess. And he beat Kevin Holland, which realistically at this point, everyone's beating Kevin Holland. You know what I mean? So I think he's got like 7 losses in the UFC or something stupid. And also Kevin Holland can't grapple to save his life. So those are the 4 middleweights he's beaten. Imavov's beaten Buckley. Now he's beaten former champ Adesanya and probably GOAT debate of the division. Who else did he beat? He's beaten more. He beat Brendan Allen. He beat Cannonier. Cannonier was a weird stoppage. But if you compare those 4 names, like pound for pound in terms of the middleweight division, Imavov has fought better middleweights, if you get what I'm trying to say. Hopefully you understand that. But I think that I'm not going to come along and say Imavov's done enough to leapfrog him. But in terms of like rankings, I think he's going to be ranked 2nd compared to Chimaev's 3rd. So I feel like he might have done enough to leapfrog Chimaev, but I feel like he should fight Chimaev first. And it's not like it's going to be a run-through fight for Khamzat Chimaev. Imavov has good grappling, and he's got good striking. So he's a very all-round fighter. I don't think Chimaev's just going to run through him like he did Robert Whittaker. As well as that, he doesn't necessarily have the height advantage over Imavov and the reach advantage he had over Whittaker. So I think it'll be a close fight. Anyway, I'm really speedrunning this. That's it for this video. Let me know what you think about matchups. Some of them are a little bit weird. Obviously, I want to see the Imavov Chimaev one just because I think it's a very fun matchup. And I obviously do want to see this one. This is more of a meme one. But that's it for this video. Hopefully you did enjoy. Let me know if you agree with any of my picks, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.